Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Tom.
It's time!
Live from the CSB studios in Westbury, New York,
It's the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
featuring co-host Kevin Dolan and the host that's been here since day one, Jerry Napoleonello.
On Zeno Radio and
On All Noise Radio.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show live on Zeno Radio, Cyberstation USA, All Noise Radio, Stitcher, and the Live 365 apps. I'm Jerry Knapp. He's Kevin Donlin. Thanks for deciding to spend your afternoon with us. Mets get their second Hall of Famer in team history, and what a wild card weekend we had. The number to call, 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. But first, let's start off with the Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary.
That's right, the wild card weekend kicked off on Saturday in Houston. The Texans and Chiefs squaring off. This game was a no contest right from the start. From the opening kickoff, went 106 yards for a touchdown as the Chiefs took an early lead and never looked back. They win this game 30-0 and moving on to New England to face the Patriots on Saturday.
Off we go with the playoffs. And Niall Davis will bring it out from 6 deep. Davis across the 50. Davis is gone! Niall Davis starts the playoffs with a bang! 106 yards. Touchdown, Chiefs!
The other game on Saturday took place in Cincinnati as the AFC North rival Steelers and Bengals took the field, and after Montez perfect interception that looked to end the game, Jeremy Hill fumbled to give the Steelers the ball back, and after two consecutive 15-yard penalties by the Bengals, the Steelers landed themselves in field goal range, and after Chris Boswell kicked it through the uprights with 14 seconds left, the Steelers move on to face Denver on Sunday.
Go for the kick that in all likelihood would win it if he makes it. And the kick is drilled, and the Steelers are back ahead at 18-16.
The NFC wildcard games were on Sunday as the Vikings and Seahawks faced off in frozen Minnesota as temperatures at kickoff were 5 below. The game on the field was sloppy, and that continued all the way through to the last play as Blair Walsh lined up for a 27-yard field goal to win the game, and Ray Finkel would say laces out as he kicked the laces and hooked it left as the Seahawks move on to Carolina to play the Panthers.
McDermott is the snapper. And the kick is no good! Wow! Go figure.
The late game in Washington had the Packers face off with the Redskins, and after the Redskins held an early 11-0 lead, the Packers came roaring back very strong and did not look back as they win 35-18 and move on to Arizona.
Just got it away. Adams wide open for the touchdown. And there is life with this Green Bay Packers offense.
Michael Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. are on their way to Cooperstown, and 15 finalists were named for Canton with the class headlined by Terrell Owens and Brett Favre. And I'm Kevin Donlin with your 60-second summary brought to you by Overtime. The game never ends.
NFL playoffs have started, and it was a good one. It was a good week. You had some crazy games. You had a missed field goal, as we said in the 60-second summary. You had, a crazy ending to that Steelers and Bengals game. And, I was happy that we got that good of a week, of wild card games.
Yeah, Cincinnati looked like a very, very tough contest for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They basically handed them the football game. I wish my Jets would have taken on the Bengals, but I'll be honest with you, that would never happen for the New York Jets.
Yeah.
That would never happen. What happened in that game was a disgrace. We will get more into that later on. It was a disgraceful performance, not just by the players of the Cincinnati Bengals, their fans. It was a disaster at Paul Brown Stadium. But first, let's.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. But first, I want to have a quick shout out to my girlfriend Nicole. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
But we'll get right into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. The inductees were named the other day. We obviously haven't been on the air since then. It happened last week. But the Mets get their second Hall of Famer. And it was a question. There was a question that, what team he would go in as. And it is that he's going with the New York Mets. So the Mets have their second one. And Ken Griffey Jr., first ballot, Hall of Famer.
I was surprised by this. Ken Griffey Jr.?
I hope you're joking.
I mean, let's be honest, folks. It was a nail in the coffin. He was a surefire. Basically, you've seen the internet blowing up with even just the 3 people that did not vote for this man. They're calling them the Three Stooges. It's actually really, really funny. Made me laugh. This guy is well deserved. He has been a great player. He was a great player for a very, very long time. When he first came in, he was like different. It was like a new dimension of players coming in.
With him,
5 tools.
I mean, there's not much that you don't like about him. That the guy is a very likable guy. I think he was I think he was the favorite for anybody in that generation of watching baseball. He basically is the reason why wearing your hat backwards is cool. He started that. But, he broke Tom Seaver's record for percentage for the Hall of Fame voting. Tom Seaver had a 98.8% vote kind of thing for Hall of Fame. And Ken Griffey Jr. got a 99.3. That means 3 people did not vote for him. I don't know what those voters were thinking. And this is out of 440 votes. These are 440 people. He got 437. I mean, it's insane. I think it's more insane that 3 people didn't vote for him. It was surprising to me that only 2 people got in. But the list went on Ken Griffey Jr., 99.3%, Mike Piazza 83%, Jeff Bagwell 71.6%. It kind of seems like he'll be in next year. Tim Raines 69.8%. He'll most likely be in next year, and possibly Trevor Hoffman at 67.3% will probably be in next year. But the guys that I want to talk about real quick that were in the top 10 and definitely in question for a lot of things. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds both came in at Roger Clemens 45.2, Barry Bonds 44.3.
So there are some people that are voting for them.
They both got within 195 to 199 votes. So is this the change of, the steroid era? Will they end up getting in? And my question, with Piazza's election, will it change the way voters look at Bonds and Clemens? Because if you remember, Piazza was in question for steroids.
Well, when it comes down to it, you look at the steroid era of baseball, and for me, being a lifetime fan, it ruined it for me. I mean, I'm not to be so critical of baseball like it was, but baseball was a very exciting time at this period. I mean, you had Barry Bonds' home runs, you had Mark McGwire's home runs, you had Roger Clemens' dominance on the mound. You felt like you had the most top-tier talent going on all at the same time. It was a great time to watch the game.
Well,
but now that has all been tarnished.
See, the thing is, the way I look at it is, first of all, I don't care. These guys were Hall of Famers before they even took whatever the hell they took.
Well, what proves that?
What do you mean, what proves that? Did you see Barry Bonds before he took that? Did you see Roger Clemens before he took that? Same thing with Alex Rodriguez. Did you see the way Alex Rodriguez was playing? I mean, Alex Rodriguez
how can you really tell when they took it?
Look at the size of them.
I know, I understand after, but you don't have a specific time of when they took it.
I'm just saying there was a time period where, first of all, Barry Bonds came into this league as a toothpick.
I know. I understand what you're saying.
Roger Clemens as well. And there was a time where they took a drastic change, between seasons. Same thing with Mark McGwire. I mean, Mark McGwire was a toothpick as well. But he was still hitting home runs before, gaining that weight and gaining that muscle. And the same thing with Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, I mean, there's no question about it. Even if, he did take the start, this guy was still the best hitter in the league, by far. And probably of the best hitter in history. and there's no question about it. But the thing is, during the time they had the strike in, I think it was 94, 95? They had the strike. Baseball took a hit with that. By 99, 98-ish, you had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa come in. These guys were hitting home runs left and right. You had the home run race. It was like Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. That's what it was. And it brought baseball back to the headlines. You know, people kind of fell off after the strike, and it kind of goes the same as hockey as well. Hockey still is starting to, come back from that strike. But baseball, coming back from that strike, having Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, I can honestly say, I mean, I was young. I was around 9 years old, 10 years old. These guys brought back baseball. It was fun to watch. And baseball knew that.
Do you still think that it's at the same area it was right then and there? Because it's
absolutely not.
It's absolutely not. Baseball has taken a step behind.
The thing is with me is, when you had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, you had the so-so baseball fans. The ones that, not really huge fans, but will watch it if it's interesting. Then it was interesting. They had so many people watching out for that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. I could tell, people probably don't even know who won the World Series that year. Obviously, it was the Yankees, and the same thing goes in '98 as well. But the thing is, that's what made it fun. People wanted to see home runs. They wanted to see the home run race. And nowadays, obviously, the thing is, Bud Selig and the Major League Baseball knew about the steroid use, knew that they were making a crazy amount of money, having so many people watching baseball at that time, and now they're flip-flopping it and saying these guys should not be in the Hall of Fame. But meanwhile, these guys are the ones that made baseball where it is.
Well, it's nowhere now, and it's because of that.
But I'm saying,
so that's the perspective that he has.
Nowadays, you're not going to get the casual fan to watch a baseball game, because the thing is, a baseball fan will watch any baseball. Will watch a pitching duel. Will love a pitching duel. Will find it interesting. A casual fan will find that boring. And that's the problem. I'm not saying that, you know what, every player should go out and take steroids. But what I'm saying is, you're contradicting yourself. You're going to say that these guys are the ones that brought baseball back to where it should be, back to the America's pastime. Everybody was watching it at that time, and then it's nowadays it's like, no, these guys are done. These guys are not allowed to get into the Hall of Fame. And I think it's ridiculous. I think Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Alex Rodriguez should get into the Hall of Fame when he gets, to that point. I think there's no question about these players.
I'll be honest, I strongly disagree with you. Strongly disagree with you.
But how can you disagree with me when you basically said
as much as you say it brought the game back, it has tarnished the game. And like you said, nowadays at this time, 2015, the casual fan will not watch any baseball, and not because of the reasons you're saying so.
Now
anyone appreciates a good pitching duel. I mean, you watch the MLB playoffs, you watch the New York Mets go the whole way. You saw
with pitching
exactly.
But you know what? A lot of people watch because Daniel Murphy was hitting a home run every at bat. Because that's what people want to see. People want to see runs. You go to a game, a casual fan paying that kind of money. Now, I'm not saying I'm a baseball fan, so I love any kind of baseball. I love the pitching duel.
I will not agree with the steroid use of anyone going into the Hall of Fame. If you're going to tell me that a man named Pete Rose cannot go into the Hall of Fame because of...
Well, I agree with you with that. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Then these guys absolutely should not be in the Hall of Fame.
See, but I think these guys should be in the Hall of Fame as well.
What they did was 10 times worse. What they did was 10 times worse. This guy was unbelievable. He was an unbelievable hitter, Pete Rose.
There's no question about that.
Probably the best hitter to ever live.
No question about that.
And yet, you got a guy that, let's be honest, this guy was taking steroids. He got huge, okay? And Roger Clemens played great until he was in his 40s.
Now, let me ask you a question now. All right? Me and you, we take steroids. Are we going into the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely not.
Are we going to be in the majors?
But are we going to make millions of dollars? Yes.
Are we going to be in the majors?
Does it matter if we make the Hall of Fame? Do you think it matters to Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens that they make the Hall of Fame? They don't care.
My question is, me and you, we take steroids. Are we going into the majors?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me?
What?
Me and you, we're going to get into the majors if we take steroids.
Hey, man.
Oh, stop. I think you should know that that's not going to happen. These guys could still hit a 99-mile-per-hour fastball no matter if they're taking steroids or not. You still need to have the skill to hit a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. Steroids is not going to give you that skill. It might give you 10 extra.
Let's be honest. Did Barry Bonds really hit a 99-mile-per-hour fastball consistently?
Absolutely.
The guy struck out all the time. And if he didn't strike out, he walked a record amount of times.
Well, he did walk a record amount of times because you couldn't pitch to him. Because there was no pitching to this guy. Because all he did was hit home runs off of you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But he struck out a hell of a lot of times, too.
But anybody's going to do that if you're a home run hitter.
Hey, I could have pulled that off. I mean, let's be honest. You swing the bat and you hit the 25, 30 home runs a year, and I strike out 100 times a year, which was probably going to happen. Just like any... What, you don't think so?
The way I look at it is... I think that these guys should get into the Hall of Fame just because they are Hall of Famers before the steroids, and I think that
there's no way to prove it, and they did that to themselves. There's no way to prove that, and they did that to themselves.
I don't know, but we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get back. We're also talking about...
I can't believe you think these guys should be in the Hall of Fame.
I do think they should be in the Hall of Fame. I think there's no question about it.
They should have never... There's no question about what they should have done about 15, 20 years ago, and that's stay away from the needle.
But back then... Now,
if you were good already,
we're gonna go to a break. From Cooperstown to Canton, we learned of baseball's Hall of Fame inductees. The NFL named the 15 finalists for this year's Hall of Fame. We'll let you know who that is and who we think will get in next on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Station USA is the future of radio. Get your business into the online future at the world's largest internet radio station. From banner placement on our homepage to any of our broadcaster stages, commercials on our video player, audio spots on any of our shows, or at the beginning of any of our on-demand broadcasts. Cyberstation USA offers competitive rates with a worldwide reach. A fully integrated one-stop shop social media broadcast platform. For more information, please contact our sales department at cameo@cyberstationusa.com.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Monday on Zeno Radio and re-airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Cyberstation USA and the Stitcher app. You can also tune in every Wednesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live.
All my life you stood by me when no one else was ever behind me. All these lights, they can't blind me. With your love, nobody can drag me down. All my life you stood by me.
We are back, and before we start, continuing this unbelievable debate. I mean, even off the air, this continued. But in this day and age, social media has become such a pivotal part of people's lives. Well, now there's an app called Overtime that brings sports and social media together.
It allows you to post photos as well as video of all sports-related news and highlights. It gives you access to debate all sports topics with other sports fanatics, as well as giving you a platform to break sports news yourself.
Go to the iTunes App Store to download Overtime, an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. And two sports lovers right here talking. We're going to continue our debate. This kid's rubbing his hands right now.
Yeah.
Exciting. I mean, we went off the air, with this man believing that, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds should be elected into the Hall of Fame, and I strongly disagree.
You can't tell me. See, but the thing
they
is...
tarnished the game. They tarnished the game permanently.
I'm going to try to get up a list of steroids users, all right? I'm going to get a list of steroids users, and I'm going to ask you which ones on this list will make the Hall of Fame, because I can guarantee you maybe 5% will make the could make the Hall of Fame.
But you know what? What's the percentage of them that made millions of dollars?
You got guys like Chuck Knobloch that took steroids, and who knows about this guy unless you were watching the Yankees back in the day.
I'll be honest with you.
But it's just guys like that. The thing is, you can use steroids, but you still have to be good enough to become a Hall of Famer.
But why did you do it then? Why did you do it?
The reason...
There ain't no reason. There's no answer to that. There's no answer to that. You were already going to be a Hall of Famer. All right, we're going to take a call now.
We're going to take a call. Hopefully... I want to hear what they... How's it going? You're on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Tom from Valley Stream. What's going on?
What's up?
I totally agree with Jerry on this.
Thank you.
Half the people that took steroids were Hall of Famers before. Bonds was 400, and baseball promoted steroids because it was 4 years after the strike. They promoted it, and now they're going to hurt all these.
Well, they tarnished their game. They tarnished their game. The game is tarnished now. It's tarnished.
67 hits away from like 3,000 or something like that.
Anyone?
Hall of Famers, it's a joke.
No.
I'm telling you, they promoted it.
What they did to baseball, right now is why they're not in the Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you, that's exactly why. Because then it becomes a whole debate right now. You put them in the Hall of Fame right now. They tarnished the game.
Bonds in the Hall of Fame, definitely.
Oh.
Not Palmero. I'll say Palmero, but I'm telling you, they
tarnished the game.
They threw him under the bus. That's what they did.
Exactly.
Watch, Syndergaard keeps throwing 99 miles per hour till he's in his 40s, and all of a sudden there's the question. Okay? That guy from Houston, I don't even know, I can't even tell you his name, comes out with a 40 home run season. We're questioning whether or not he's doing steroids. This is a problem.
But what about Brady Anderson? He had 56 home runs. He was a leadoff hitter. I mean, come on, he was juicing.
But that's the point. The game got tarnished by it. Now anyone that performs now, which we've all said off the air, we just said, none of these guys are doing it now. But the second someone does something along the lines of what, anyone that comes out and hits 50 home runs now is going to be questioned. And those two are the highlight of why this is being done.
See,
what they did was horrible. And like you said, you're right. Don't take the steroids. Don't take them. You are a 400 player. You were going into the Hall of Fame, no matter what. So why did you take it? You're telling me millions of dollars. This man was going to make millions of dollars either way.
But my thing is, these guys, there was no testing for this, so it was allowed. No, and like they was that's exactly what they're saying is these guys were not tested for it. There was no testing for steroids at that time. You were allowed to take it. So what you're saying is that when it was legal back then to now because it's illegal, these guys because of that should not be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. What you just said, I absolutely agree with.
That's ridiculous.
It doesn't matter.
The McGuire-Sosa thing brought baseball back.
Thank you.
The home run race.
But it's gone right back down. It has gone right back down.
Good point. It's gone back down. I know. All right, guys. Thanks for taking my call, man.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Later, brother. When it comes down to this, I can understand your point of view with the whole idea of why they should be in, but my point of view is you should have never done this, and you would have been in. Both of them. Roger Clemens was a dominant player his entire career, up until his 40s, which was very impressive. Not a lot of players could say that. Okay, especially in the sport of baseball, and maybe Bartolo Colon and what he's been doing lately. But even people will start to question that. Bartolo Colon still becoming an effective player. Obviously, his velocity and all that has gone down, but nonetheless, you get questioned now. Everyone gets questioned, and those two are the highlights of why this happens in the game of baseball. A big reason why it's been tarnished now. And I do not believe they should be in the Hall of Fame. It will just cause a lot of controversy. It just would.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. These guys were great players no matter what. And I agree 100% with that statement. Then there was no reason to go ahead and take this. You're saying millions of dollars. They were going to make millions either way. We're going to move on. Obviously, the NFL draft. I know we got playoffs going, but the NFL draft will be in full gear. And we got a draft order we want to talk about a little bit.
Well, first let's name the Hall of Famers, the finalists for the NFL Hall of Fame. I'm getting up a list right now, but the headliners are definitely Terrell Owens and Brett Favre.
And rightfully so. They will be in. They are slam dunks, automatics to be in.
I was hearing a lot of people said that Terrell Owens may not be a first ballot. In my eyes, he's definitely a first ballot.
Multiple teams, an incredible contributor.
The thing is, with Terrell Owens and the NFL Hall of Fame, a lot of things that are looked at is sometimes your attitude, your off the field stuff, which is ridiculous because a Hall of Fame, inductee should just be known for what he did on the field. That's why it's the NFL Hall of Fame, and I mean, obviously he's gonna end up getting in. But guys like Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, these guys were not first ballot Hall of Famers, but they should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And to me, it's just it's just a little ridiculous. I think Terrell Owens should be a number one. The finalists are Drew Bledsoe, Brett Favre. Actually, I think these guys, this is all...
No, Clinton Portis is a finalist.
This is all 108 of the semifinalists. We're going to try to get...
No, the capital letters.
The capital letters?
Yeah, the ones in capitals. What are you doing over here?
I don't know. Why can't they just come up with just a list?
Look, it says it right there. It says the finalists are in capitals.
Caps, indicate the first year of eligibility.
Oh.
The Stars are the finalists in 2015. Yeah, but Brett Favre is a finalist. So I don't know what are we looking at?
I don't know. Let's go into the draft order. Obviously Brett Favre and Terrell Owens. I personally think they should be slam dunks. But we want to go into this draft order a little bit. Obviously, the Tennessee Titans are going to take the number 1 overall pick this year after being the number 2 overall pick this year. And a lot of people ask, right now, this team, in my opinion, their defense was a little bit of a question mark, but at the same time, this team is in dire need of a receiver for Mariota. A dire need. Their tight end is unbelievable. He's a great player. You got a tight end. You're locked up. Well, your offensive line protected him fairly well for the most part of the season. That isn't another problem. But, I mean, on this defense and a receiver are the number one things Tennessee needs. It makes you wonder, is Tennessee going to get rid of this pick?
I don't know. Like the mock draft that I'm looking at right now, for SB Nation, Joey Bosa is number 1 going to Tennessee, the defensive end out of Ohio State. Definitely, people say that this guy is the best player in the draft. I do not disagree. This guy is a monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I think that he's going to go number 1? I don't know.
Well, Tennessee is in need of a defensive front. I mean, their defensive front clearly didn't get to the quarterback enough last year. Their defense was very vulnerable all season long. Number 2 will be the Cleveland Browns. They have earned the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. And a lot of people are saying quarterback here with the loss of Johnny Manziel, and they've just been having quarterback troubles this entire time.
Well,
they knew everything out in Cleveland.
They haven't lost Manziel yet, but I mean,
he's gone.
I don't know what they're going to do with this guy. Went to Vegas. The day before or the day after a football game, put on a disguise and everything. This guy, I mean, if anybody actually puts him on their team, if the Cleveland Browns get rid of him, you're a joke. And I'm very, 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 very scared that the Dallas Cowboys will be picking him up. And I hope that they go for a quarterback in the draft. But this mock draft has Cleveland Browns going for Jared Goff out of California. San Diego, they have Laramie Tunsil, the offensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And this one has the Dallas Cowboys going for Jalen Ramsey, cornerback/safety out of Florida State. Also, Jacksonville gets the 5. They have Mackenzie Alexander, the cornerback out of Clemson. You'll see him playing tonight. Clemson and Alabama tonight for the NCAA Playoff Championship. Then Baltimore Ravens have the 6th pick with Ronnie Stanley at offensive tackle from Notre Dame. San Francisco 49ers, the 7th pick, Laquan Treadwell, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Many say that he is the best wide receiver in the draft class. 8 has the Miami Dolphins. Vernon Hargreaves, the cornerback out of Florida. Tampa Bay is the number 9. This mock draft has...
That San Francisco pick makes absolutely no sense to me.
It really doesn't.
That defense was absolutely atrocious. They obviously need someone
You
else
lost
on that
everybody,
front.
you know? But Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9. DeForest Buckner, defensive end out of Oregon. And then the number 10, we're only going to get to number 10. Then the number 10, Miles Jack, outside linebacker, UCLA. And then we'll just give you the draft order for the rest of it. Chicago Bears 11, New Orleans Saints 12, Philadelphia Eagles 13, Oakland Raiders 14, St. Louis Rams 15, Detroit Lions 16, Atlanta Falcons 17, Indianapolis Colts 18, Buffalo Bills 19, the New York Jets at 20. Washington's got
I'm so glad, and I'm just going to pause here for a second. I'm so glad the Buffalo Bills got the 19th overall pick because they decided to win the last week of the season. I love it. I think it's great. Good job, Rex. Continue to build that formation you got over there, brother. Continue it. I love it.
So that's basically the...
They could have easily moved 10 different spots.
Yeah.
They would have just lost.
Definitely. We will get into the wild card weekends when we get back. You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. The Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Monday on Zeno Radio and re-airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Cyberstation USA and the Stitcher app. You can also tune in every Wednesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Cameo Entertainment Group and Cyberstation USA are now part of Stitcher, a free radio app for your smartphone. With Stitcher, you can listen to live programming as well as archive radio programming right on your phone. To obtain Stitcher, just go to the App Store for your particular phone. Go to search, then type in Stitcher. That's Stitcher, S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. Then download. It's that simple. Stitcher, a free radio app for your smartphone. Convenient access to live and archived Cyberstation USA programming on your mobile phone. That's Stitcher, S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. Cyberstation USA, always on the go.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Until the end of days, they'll remember our names. Face yourself, it all goes down tonight. Time will tell you.
We are back. And we're going to talk about the wild card round a little bit. But first, you are speaking with Jerry and Kevin. We're taking calls at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. Remember to join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or at our website at tnjsports.weebly.com. We're continuing up. We wanted to go into the wild card round just a little bit. Obviously, a very exciting weekend in the NFL.
Absolutely.
A lot of exciting games. Didn't really seem like that right off the bat with the Chiefs and Texans.
This game was over right from the opening kickoff. As you heard in our 60-second summary, if you did not watch the game, Niall Davis took the opening kickoff 106 yards to the house, gave the Kansas City Chiefs a early 30-second lead, and that lasted the whole rest of the game as they win 30-0. Brian Hoyer was an absolute atrocious, throwing 4 interceptions, 1 fumble. I think Bill O'Brien, I do not know why he didn't pull him. I mean, Brandon Weeden is just as bad, but you know what? It was kind of still in grasp. It was 13-0 at halftime. So maybe, why not make a change and try to actually show some hope in this game? Jeremy Maclin ended up getting hurt for the Kansas City Chiefs. If he is hurt for an extended time and if he misses this game against the Patriots, that's a big loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. It also looked like J.J. Watt got hurt in this game. I don't know to the extent. It looked like the first time that he got hurt, it was just a knee-to-knee collision, which hurts almost as worse as anything else. But he did end up missing like almost the whole second half. His knee buckled on one point, and then people were talking about that play because Fisher ended up like slamming his head into the ground as J.J. Watt got hurt. But obviously he probably didn't know that he was hurt. But this game was a no contest, 30-0, Kansas City Chiefs, and they move on to New England to play Tom Brady and the Patriots that will have Edelman playing in this game.
I hate New England.
You know what? They're getting healthy. Well, I mean, hopefully, Tom Brady's healthy.
We'll see how that offensive line is able to hold up against Justin Houston and Tom Bahali. This will be a lot closer game than a lot of people assume. I think people think New England will go into this game and walk out winners easily. Depending on the weather, depending on the situation, this will not be an easy game for Bill Belichick and company. I'm not going to go ahead and pick the Chiefs, but I'm not going to say that the New England Patriots are going to win this game with complete ease. This will be a very, very tough game for both teams.
Well, we're going to get into that game more in a little bit, but we're going to go on to the next game. The Steelers and the Bengals, this was probably the best game of the weekend, in my opinion.
No, it wasn't. It was the most disgraceful game of the weekend.
Well, it was, but I'm just saying, entertaining, I guess you could say.
Oh, absolutely. I don't even agree with that either, because honestly, what the refs did in that game was 100% what they needed to do. But it should never have to come down to that. And for Cincinnati fans to sit there in Paul Brown Stadium and watch that occur was just a disgrace. There's no other way to put it, Jerry. Literally.
I do not disagree with you. I think the beginning of the game, in pregame, when you have to have the refs at the 50-yard line because you don't want these two teams meeting at all at the middle of the field, is sad. It really is sad. And it all started when Vontaze Burfict ended up ending Le'Veon Bell's season. And it's just been, this guy's a problem. And if you don't think so, it's ridiculous, this guy. And, he continued with it. Even after, first of all, when Ben Roethlisberger got hurt and was getting carted off the field, and these fans are throwing stuff at him, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace for these Cincinnati Bengal fans. For you to even do something like that, that's ridiculous.
Well, this is what I meant by this game was disgraceful, and it wasn't just the players on the field. It had a lot to do with the fans as well, like you said, with Big Ben Roethlisberger getting carted off. Vontaze Burfict, obviously that has no self-control, but that has to go a lot on the coaching staff.
Same thing with Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not just one player, and that is the problem.
But now, under Marvin Lewis, all right, now Marvin Lewis has probably been with the Cincinnati Bengals for what, about 12 years, I think?
Has not won a playoff game.
He's 0-7 in the playoffs, first of all. But second of all, this team has had, if I'm guessing right, I think they've had the most arrests out of the whole league in his tenure as Cincinnati Bengals head coach. So he has not done very well with keeping his players intact, I guess you could say. The end of that game was horrendous. The hit on Antonio Brown was not needed.
The fact that this is the way they just lost, or the way he just lost his 7th consecutive playoff game. This guy, I'm not one to sit there and be a criticizer, do all this kind of stuff and all this kind of analysis, but this man needs to go.
I think he has to
go. Marvin Lewis has got to go. Either that or Vontez Burfict or Adam Jones has to go.
Now,
that was a disgraceful way to lose. And if I'm a Cincinnati Bengal fan and I sat there in the rain for 4 hours just to watch a team give up 2 personal foul penalties,
that basically after the first one, it's still a long field goal. But the second one, come on now. You're in the playoffs. What are you doing?
Now, I'm a little questioned by that because there's a whole little debate. First off, the way the announcers had put it was that Adam Jones had pushed the ref. Adam Jones did not push a ref.
He did not push a ref. He pushed Joey Porter.
Exactly. Who shouldn't be on the field.
He shouldn't have, but he is a coach.
He shouldn't be on the field. A coach is not allowed on the field.
Yeah, but it was a timeout. Obviously, it was an injury timeout. He was out there talking to his team. His section of the team. Whatever I think he's a linebackers coach, I think, or something like that.
I don't know, but if Adam Jones would have pushed a ref, then I absolutely agree with the 15-yard penalty. He pushed a coach that I personally don't feel like should ever be on the field. If you need your players during a timeout and you want to go and talk to them, you have them come to you. You're a head coach. You're an authority figure. This all has to do with just the coaching side for both of these teams. This was a disgraceful game in so many patterns. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Did either one of these teams have a shot to make it past the next round? I don't think so.
I don't think
Cincinnati had any chance at knocking off New England. And I don't think Pittsburgh has any shot at knocking off, actually vice versa, but I don't think either team had any shot against any of the bye week teams.
Yeah.
Neither shot.
You know what?
Even with Andy Dalton in there, no difference at all. I mean, Andy Dalton's a decent quarterback, but he's not some savior.
Yeah.
You didn't lose Peyton Manning. You didn't lose Tom Brady. You lost Andy Dalton. I mean, Andy Dalton had a great year this year. There's no discrediting in him at all. But this team could not run the ball at all against a Pittsburgh team that's been able to give up the run to a lot of teams this year.
Yeah.
They're not a top 5 rushing defense, nor I don't even think a top 10. So Jeremy Hill and Jeremy Hill with the fumble. I mean, again, this is just Cincinnati had no business losing this game.
None
whatsoever.
That was a great play by Burfict. The other thing that kind of
starts running into the locker room.
I thought pissed me off.
I found it very funny. I was actually very amused by this.
You know what I was hoping for? I was hoping that he did not get touched. He went to the opposite end, and that would have been a safety. And I would have laughed. I would have honestly laughed because there was 5 other players that ran in with him. I think the whole Cincinnati Bengals team was a disgrace that night.
Marvin Lewis had no control of this team.
You know what? And the Steelers are not, angels in this game. They're not. They had their problems as well. But I thought it was just a disgraceful game, as you said, on both sides. Both sides.
Big Ben can barely move. Okay,
he hurt his shoulder in this game.
He can barely move. He's hurting his shoulder left and right, and he's going up against Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. I mean, I'll say a prayer for you, my big guy, because honestly, right now it does not look it does not look good for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Denver looks like they're getting healthier and healthier. Peyton Manning says he's healthier than he has been all year long, which is a little scary.
Yeah,
because I'm a Jet fan. We've played Peyton Manning-led offenses before. This man, when healthy, is impossible to defend.
Yeah, we'll talk
Impossible.
about Peyton Manning and the Broncos when we get back.
We're also going to see the NFC Championship games as well.
Yes. Well, Seahawks end up winning against the Vikings 10-9. Vikings had a chance to kick a game-winning field goal with, I think, 14 seconds left, and what's his name? Blair Walsh ended up hooking it to the left. Terrible kick. Packers end up beating the Redskins 35-18. There's really not much to get into this game. The Redskins had no business being in the playoffs, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. But Wild Card Weekend is in the books. We have our divisional round matchups. We'll get into those when we get back next on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Neither 8-8 team had any chance to be in this.
Absolutely not.
All right. Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
This is the evolution of radio.
Cyberstation USA.
Our inventions change us. They make us think differently.
Something new added to the real world.
The leading edge of evolution.
That development has got to be delivered.
CyberstationUSA.com.
The most sophisticated that I've ever seen.
I'm not sure exactly what the future is, but I'm pretty sure it's not going away.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting founder Dick Robinson.
You know, the media business has changed a lot since we opened our doors in 1964. Now media content is everywhere, on air, online, on the go. More than ever, companies are looking for people to help drive this new media.
At Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you'll get hands-on training on the latest software and equipment in a matter of months, not years. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has placed thousands of grads in broadcast media careers.
It's all about versatility. You see, at a radio station, if you also know how to shoot, edit, and post videos, you become a pretty hot commodity. That's the training you get at Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting with locations up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Miami. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to GoCSB.com. Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the nation's oldest and largest group of broadcast media schools. Redefining training in radio, TV, and new media. Get trained. Get connected. 1-800-TV-RADIO.
I will fight till I take my last breath. I got the heart of a warrior, the heart of a warrior. I've been down, I've been out, and I've been. Yeah. I got the heart of
a warrior. The Tom and Jerry Sports Show picks and predictions for the divisional round. We are back, and we're going to get into the picks and predictions for the divisional round coming on, but in a couple minutes. But we wanted to talk about something real quick. This is the first time in the NFL that 4 road teams in the wild card weekend came in and took care of business on the road against 4 home teams, and that becomes basically.
I think going into Saturday, I think the Redskins were the only home team that was favored. And it was only by a point, and that flip-flopped basically all week.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just, this kind of brings up basically this.
The Overtime Debate of the Week.
That is right. It's the Overtime Debate of the Week. If you have not downloaded the app, Overtime, do so now. iTunes App Store. Check it out. Great sports app. But we're going to get into our debate of the week, the Overtime Debate of the Week. And basically, the question is, should these division winners that don't have great records
Not even just that.
Should they be the home team?
Just in general. Division record. Division winners be getting the home field over these teams that, because right now you're looking at 2 8-8 teams that made the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Now we're talking basically the two teams we're talking about right now are the Houston Texans and the Washington Redskins, both who were embarrassed in the wild card weekend. Embarrassed. They didn't just lose; they were embarrassed. 30-0, 35-18. Yeah, Washington had the lead early, but let's be honest. Towards the end of that game, they couldn't stop Green Bay if their life depended on it.
Yeah.
And I mean literally. Green Bay was running it effectively. They were able to pass out of the effective run. They played their offense perfectly. All the credit to Aaron Rodgers, but that Aaron Rodgers offense did not look like that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that's not a tough defense that they played in Washington.
Hence,
it's going to be a big different story come next week for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, yeah.
But we're not going to get into that just yet. But the fact is, I'm a Jet fan. We won 10 games this year. We're not in the playoffs. And we're looking at two teams that are 8-8, completely embarrassed. Now, granted, a division winner has to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they should definitely not have been a number 4 seed.
Well, that's the problem. That's always been a question. Going into the Seattle Seahawks that year against the Saints, they 7-9, and they ended up beating the Saints. Obviously they did beat the Saints, but it goes to show you that the away team had a better record than the home team. And should we actually look at...
And Seattle had home field in that game, and that was a big
reason
why Seattle had won that game.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, that should these teams that have a lower record, but even though they are division winners, should they be getting a home game?
I don't agree. I just don't agree. That's my opinion. I personally do not agree with that whole idea. If you want to finish 7-9 and win your division, no problem. You're going to get in the playoffs, but you're going to be a 6th seed. You should get no benefit of the doubt.
That's what I'm saying.
For winning your division.
Yeah.
And that is something that the NFL really needs to look into big time. But that's our debate of the week. We want you to go on. We want you to answer. Obviously, me and him can't even agree too much on it. We have a general idea, but at the same time, there are a lot of people out there that have different opinions, especially Seahawks fans or Houston fans or Washington fans.
If you download the
or
app,
even a Dallas fan if you would have won the division.
Yeah. If you want to make your opinion heard, you can either tweet us at the letter T, the letter N, the letter J, sports, or you could go on Instagram, Tom, the letter N, Jerry Sports Show, and make your opinion heard, as well as going on the Overtime app. If you have downloaded it, definitely check us out. You can find it on my Overtime account, Jerry Naps. Check that out. I want to hear what you have to say. If you want to even call in, you could call in about it. But we're going to move on to the divisional games and the matchups. We're going to get into the first game, the Chiefs and the Patriots. This is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be better than anybody thinks, but I think I have to take the Patriots.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go Kansas City here. I know it's in New England. I know it's a very, very tough crowd to take care of, and a lot of people probably aren't giving Kansas City the benefit of the doubt, but Kansas City's got a very good pass rush. That cannot be overlooked. We've seen the last couple of weeks Tom Brady getting hit a lot, and right now I feel like Tom Brady is still hurting.
Well, he has a sprained ankle. He has a high ankle sprain.
It does go. I've had that before, though, and that does go away in 2 weeks. It does.
Really?
Yes, I've had a high ankle sprain. I did it once, playing basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
Because I usually see they talk about 6 weeks that
high ankle sprain. No, I thought he just had a sprained ankle, not high ankle sprain.
No, I think it was a high ankle sprain.
No, I think I read ankle sprain.
All right.
Yeah,
and
I've sprained my ankle before too. It took me about a week to get off it.
Well,
for just the swelling and stuff to go down and be able to walk on it again.
He's had a week off, 2 weeks off. But
he should be fine. There isn't a question.
But
they'll get it properly wrapped up. He'll be fine to go. There's nothing wrong with Tom Brady. But the fact is, this man's not going to be that mobile.
Yeah.
And he's facing with an offensive line that isn't too effective. So their running game is going to have to be there. And I don't know if they'll be able to run the ball against Kansas City. It's going to be a big problem for New England. Do not think New England is any much of a lock in this game at all. I think the Chiefs win this game.
I got the Patriots. The next one, Packers and the Cardinals. By far, I'm not even going to get really too far into this game. I think the Arizona Cardinals are the best team in the NFL, and I am going with the Arizona Cardinals over the Packers, even with the loss of Tyrann Mathieu. I think the last week of the season was a fluke. I think they just took their time, just lollygagged that game. I think the Cardinals, have the Packers come in and they just trounce on them.
For me, in this game, what Arizona Cardinal team are you going to see? Because I've seen two different kinds all year. I've seen the one that took on the St. Louis Rams and lost, or basically just barely won, where they had a hard time with every aspect of the game. Or are we going to see the Arizona Cardinals that is dominated and crushed, and I mean annihilated teams?
Yeah.
So this really comes down to Bruce Arians. I know he's on his team's case about that last week of the season. That's why I'm going to go with Arizona. Only because I know Bruce Arians has been on his team's, rear end for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
About their last week of the season win over the Seattle Seahawks.
Absolutely.
Loss over the Seattle Seahawks, I'm sorry. And it was an embarrassing loss at home, where they're going to be this week.
Yeah.
And they don't want that to happen again. No. And Aaron Rodgers is no pushover.
They did smack him up, though.
They did. But
got a lot of pressure on him.
Seattle smacked up Minnesota, and Minnesota had no business losing that game aside from a
Minnesota outplayed Seattle in that game, the whole game.
And Seattle annihilated them.
Yeah.
A couple weeks back.
I know.
So I mean, you really can't take
But
too
you know
much.
what? The Cardinals annihilated them in Seattle, and that's in Seattle.
That wasn't really an annihilation. They were losing that game in the fourth quarter.
Seattle ended up coming back, but
yeah, they had the fourth
but
quarter.
But it was off of 2 fumbles.
Seattle destroyed Minnesota in Minnesota. Destroyed them. Which was impressive because it was on the road for the Seattle Seahawks. And then they came in, and they were a questionable team on the road. They'll be on the road this week. I'm going to go Arizona in this game, but we're going to move on. We're going to go to Seahawks going into Carolina, and Carolina is going to win this game.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Seattle is the hottest team in football right now. No doubt about it. Obviously, they didn't play too well, but to win a game after playing the way they did, you got to give a pat on the shoulder.
Absolutely.
Any way to find a way to get a win, because they were losing by multiple scores.
Absolutely.
In the fourth quarter, came back, won that game. Impressive win. Any way you want to put it. But the
Carolina's defense, I think that's going to be
is a much different story.
Yeah, I think
it's not too much of a different story from Minnesota.
I think this is going to be a good game.
But I really don't see. I see Cam Newton have an easier time scoring than Russell Wilson, which is saying something. This is going to be a very good game.
It's very
picking
good.
a winner is very difficult, but I'm going to go with Carolina.
I'm going Carolina as well. The next one, the last one of the week, Steelers at the Broncos in Denver. I think I got to go with the Broncos because you don't know if Antonio Brown's going to play. You don't know how Ben Roethlisberger's shoulder is, and it's his throwing shoulder as well. So that's a bad thing. I just think that you're going to see Denver kind of walk all over the Steelers, to be honest with you.
I think the Denver Broncos are by far the best team in the playoffs remaining. I think.
We said. Well, at least I said
they are
that
my favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Well,
I think they should be the favorite. If Vegas, you look at the Vegas odds, they're probably not the favorite right now, and they rightfully should be.
I like the Broncos and the Cardinals in the Super Bowl. But I'm picking Arizona to win that game. But we still 3 weeks away from that.
Yeah. Well, the Broncos I have as my winners of this game. Like he said, there's many question marks with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. The one thing I give Pittsburgh credit for is that Cincinnati defense can stop the run, and they did a great job at running the football in that game. Absolutely. Everyone wants to say those personal foul penalties and Pittsburgh got handed that game. Pittsburgh did not get handed that game at all. They ran the ball effectively. They clearly ran the ball better than Cincinnati did, and no one saw that coming, including myself. You give all the credit to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They deserve to be where they are right now, but I think it stops in Denver. It's going to be very cold up there, very difficult for Pittsburgh. Denver wins this game. Peyton Manning, the man.
Absolutely. But that will do it for our show this week. We want you to come out next week and listen to us again on Monday. And check out Overtime, check out our website, everything like that. But we're going to go to a Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary before we get out of here. AFC wildcard game, Steelers beat the Bengals 18-16 and move on to Denver to face the Broncos. Chiefs beat the Texans 30-0 and face off with New England. NFC wildcard games, Packers beat the Redskins 35-18 and play the Arizona Cardinals next week, and Seahawks win in frozen Minnesota to move on to Carolina to play the Panthers. Mike Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. are heading to Cooperstown. Griffey broke Tom Seaver's record for vote percentage. 15 finalists have been named for the NFL Hall of Fame, headlined by Brett Favre and Terrell Owens. Tom Coughlin will be interviewing with the Eagles today, and Mike Smith is set to meet with the Giants. Hugh Jackson looks like a lock for the 49ers job, and Adam Gase was hired by the Miami Dolphins. And I'm Jerry Napoleonello with your Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary, brought to you by Overtime. The game never ends. And that will do it for our show. I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Tom and Jerry Show.